1 minute. Other than that.
Good, how are you?
Doing all right, dog.
Well, as long as it's ever been, and I'm not cutting it, so we'll see. We'll like Santa Claus works all over.
We might hire you.
The time is now 6 p.m. and we will call this meeting to order.
You can join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, standing here in this room, you have people who have their own worries and difficulties, and also their own blessings and joys. But one thing we all have in common is a desire to do what is best for the city of Richwood. Please hear our prayers for what rests heavy on our hearts, but also the prayers of thanksgiving for the blessings and joys in our lives. Let us add to these individual prayers ones for the city of Richwood, for its leadership, its volunteers, its first responders, and its citizens. Guide us, protect us, nurture us, and love us. For without you in our lives, we are nothing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, let's get seated. Okay.
Split break for Flint. Councilmember Johnson is absent.
Thank you, sir.
You got it.
No public comment today, so I guess we'll move on. Mr. Page, you have the floor, and I need to remind our audience that, when they show up, our public comments section is delegated to this and or a agenda item. I got it in hand last time, so
So you haven't added my name to it
what's that?
yet. That item.
One of these days. But I just need to make sure everybody knows that we need to stay in line with stuff, because we got a little out of hand last time. But now the floor is yours.
All right, Mr. Dunn. Okay, I think you said, at the end of the meeting about where you were asking too many questions. There's no such thing as too many questions. Please ask all the questions you got. 'Cause basically, you members up here, basically, the citizens' eyes and ears, your questions are sometimes the only, thing that provides the public actually insight to decision making and things going on at City Hall. Sometimes you ask the questions we want to ask. Okay, and then I've got another one for you later. But here goes that word again, transparency. It shouldn't apply only to good news. It should also apply to bad news as well. For instance, that increase in the legal rates, that one of the fees was negative 67%. That's why I'm asking, hopefully at least one of y'all will ask for consent agenda item F be pulled to actually discuss those rates, whether they were up, down, good, bad. And if not, maybe one of y'all could at least address it at the end of the meeting. Also, I did a little bit of research into how other cities around us in Missouri County handle their budget workshops every year. I was surprised to find out Richwood was the only city in Missouri County with populations under 1,000 that actually hold their budget roundtable, the one we had last week, within a city meeting. Every other city either holds it a designated area prior to the meeting, usually an hour and a half or 2 hours locked out, or on a separate day. And let me read this so I don't get and maybe the reason the budget workshop deserves this attention is probably the single most important discussion of the year affecting citizens financially. It shouldn't be tucked into an already packed agenda. I know last one was a little bit different, but it was really packed. To the point where you actually look around and see members in the audience and people sitting back here, kind of looking at their, watch, including myself over there wondering, when is this meeting going to end? So that being said, I just wish maybe y'all would consider future years to actually doing that, actually giving it either its own special meeting or an hour and a half prior. Now let me get quickly back to yours. Your question about firefighters should possibly, all volunteers should qualify for the same, discount that firefighters get. My opinion, I don't think we really deserve it. But then on the other hand, for these reasons here, they're on call 24/7, risk their lives, responsible for keeping their gear in working condition. Some of them even have their personal clothing destroyed when they go to a meeting. And one of the other things, rest of us volunteers, we mostly spend our time at scheduled meetings, council, city sponsored. We only do it a couple of months. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I don't think I deserve it. But actually, one of the things I recently learned, our fire chief is the only department head who is not an hourly employee. This is despite all the paperwork, planning, administrative responsibilities that the job has. And the chief is only compensated the same as the other firefighters on his water bill. This might be a controversial one, but I'm going to throw this suggestion out here. Maybe that position deserves the same $300 a month stipend that the head of the KRB receives for the administrative work that she does. Reason being, of course, hers is understandable. She is directly responsible and works very hard to maintain and do paperwork. It keeps our star classification. And she's the one that gets us those grants. Hopefully, that being said, I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
promise I won't say another word to Mr. Knight.
You're good. Thank you very much. A few extra minutes helped out. Okay, we're gonna move on to consent agenda with no other public comments. A, approval of revised personnel policy handbook to reflect current employment practices and update recommended by the city's human resources consultant. B, budget report June 2027. C, investment report Q3, fiscal year 26. Approval of updated financial policies for the city of Richwood. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting held June 8, 2026. And then approval of minutes for regular held meeting July 13, 2026.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we remove item A, the personnel policy handbook, from the consent agenda.
Just a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. York?
I'd like to have a discussion if we could, because I have no idea why we're removing.
I asked you.
Oh, you asked
Yeah,
me
I'm
that?
gonna charge
Okay.
all that.
So it'd be,
Jose, I requested it.
okay,
Okay.
I wanted to.
Okay.
you got it.
So now
All
we
in
need a
favor?
motion.
Yes, all.
We have all ayes,
Yes, sir.
0 nays. Motion carries on that. As far as the rest, how do you wish to vote, Council?
We need a motion. To accept the rest.
I need a motion for B through F.
I'll make a motion that we, approve the minutes, items B through F.
Okay. A second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let the record reflect everything carries, B through F. A will be tabled. Okay, discussion and action items. A, consideration and possible action to adopt ordinance number 26-542, amending chapter 14, article 4 of the Code of Ordinances regarding outdoor burning by establishing criteria for the issuance, denial, suspension, revocation of burn permits, providing an administrative appeals process, and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, and an effective date.
Mayor Council, this is the same ordinance that we presented last month. I won't take your time workshopping it again, because that was the point of last month, so, I'm just bringing this back to you to adopt. Had conversations with the fire department, and I believe this meets their request of having clear, defined terms of what an approved burn would be. We've also kind of workshopped some procedural things that could help them approve burns and help residents know what will be an approved burn and what would not be an approved burn. We're gonna do graphics and pass things off to residents as they come in and apply for burn permits.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt, ordinance number 26-542, amending chapter 14, article 4 of the Code of Ordinances regarding outdoor burning.
I'll second that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Let the record reflect, the motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to B. Public hearing and possible action on the proposed crime control and prevention district budget for fiscal year 2026-2027.
Mayor and council, this is kind of a housekeeping thing required by our ordinance, that the CCPD budget come to you for approval. Public hearing, if anyone in the audience has any questions about it. This budget was approved by the CCPD board at their last meeting. And so that is what we're doing.
So everything's good there then?
Mhm.
Okay, we just need a motion on that.
Well, as liaison for CCPD, I'd like to, make a motion that we, adopt the, proposed, budget for fiscal year 26 and 27.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to C. Discussion and possible action to adopt ordinance number 26-543, amending Appendix B fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances to revise utility rates.
Okay, first of all, thank you to Mr. Dunn. In the packet, I thought I printed it, but I can't do this. The crossed out rates are not the current rates, they're 2 years ago. So if there's any confusion, but the new rates included in your packet reflect the 5% increase that we discussed at the last meeting. So we're just asking you to approve a new rate for water, base bill of $44.55. And then the next tier, if they go over 2,000 gallons, would be $7.29. For over 20,000, it would go to $7.58. The sewer rate would increase $31.42. The next tier over 2,000 gallons would be $5.45. And then all the senior citizen discount is a percentage, it doesn't need to be changed. Multi-units are multiplication of those base rates, so they would change accordingly. Any questions?
Senior citizen discount wasn't new, right? It just hasn't.
No, it
really
used to
been-
be, I think it was $7.50 for water and $7.50 for sewer. 3 to 4 years ago, we brought it to council because it wasn't growing as the water bill grew, so it became a smaller benefit. So we changed to a percentage.
We haven't advertised it very much, right? Or is that what we got to?
We occasionally put something out on the bills.
I think the last month we put it out.
Yeah.
Yes, I just did and put it out again, and we've had quite a few people calling and coming in.
We try to promote it. It's difficult sometimes for us to say, oh, are you signed up for the senior citizen discount? And they'd say, why? I'm only 58, you know,
Happens
or
to me all the
something.
time.
So we do what we can.
That falls back under one more question.
the people that live in the apartments, senior citizens that live in apartments. I know y'all don't pay a water bill. Yes, we pay a water bill.
It's in your rent.
Do they get a discount?
It is not incorporated into that, no.
See, and I understand that because that's just hard as heck to calculate that.
That is something we could look at in the future. See how that would be administered. I've never thought of it, to be
Well,
quite honest.
Well, that and it would be hard to make sure that the apartments are relaying that discount we give them. Like even if we were to say, how many seniors do you have that live in your complex, and they tell us, and so we give them a discount based on that, I have no way to make sure that they're gonna pass that on.
I
Yeah.
understand
That's-
that.
Yeah,
I truly do.
Yeah.
but it's something that can,
I mean, we
To
can definitely
look
start
into,
researching or looking
consider.
into a way to negate
Well,
that.
It's, and I might be off topic here a little bit, but it's like, my apartment's a 3-bedroom apartment.
mhm.
My water bill is based on that square foot in that 3-bedroom apartment. You live in there and you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, your water bill is calculated on a 1-bedroom apartment size.
So see that, and they're charged the same for every apartment. So that right there makes her argument pretty valid, so, but we can look into it. It's too late for this year, but for going forward, we can look into it,
I'll
because
look
it's
at
a
it.
valid point.
It's too late for me again, so.
Any other questions?
And the public packet's been updated with the correct previous numbers, just, it's online.
Anyone wish to make a motion?
That must be done, but I'll put it in, say we adopt ordinance number 26-543, amending appendix B. That's your fee schedule, code of ordinance for the revised utility rates.
I'll stay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Just a note on that, it'll take effect 10/1. The first water bill that'll be affected would be the bill sent out October 25th. No, November 25th, November 25th due
12/10.
December 10th. So they won't see this immediately.
But in the meantime, we can get something.
We'll get it
out to them
published.
to know, yeah.
For the record, the motion carried. Move on to D. Discussion only regarding the proposed budget and proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2026, 2027. No action will be taken.
So I gave you each a copy of this. I made sure and put a cover on here because I don't want anybody out in the public thinking this is our final budget. But this is as it sits today. Our budget can change sometimes, without warning, until we get it approved. The only number I'm waiting on, we have not been able to get our premiums for our property liability and auto, policy. But they should be coming any day. I will have them before we approve in September. So I want to talk about tax rate. So if you have. Okay, so this slide is just giving you a snapshot of where our revenue is. I'm gonna present to you some options for our tax rate. This is built on the highest option I'm giving you. It's the highest option we have that we can go to without risk of it going to a ballot at the election time. It would show that our total revenue is $4 million. One reason I show you this is just to show you how dependent we are on property tax. 70.29% of our projected revenue is from property tax in the general fund. Sales tax comes in a distant second at 21.17, and then the other things make up the rest. So I just wanted you to see, some cities' property tax is not that big, but we don't have a lot of other revenue, so. Okay, next. Okay, so at the top of the sheet, you'll see our current tax rate, for this existing, year is 0.557993 for every $100 of assessed value. Of that, M&O, which is maintenance and operation for the general fund, that's the money that's used to operate the city, not counting, the water and sewer, is 0.466352. The next number is our INS, or debt rate. This is calculated by the county to give us what we need to assess on our taxable values to bring in enough money to pay our debt requirements for the next year. So that number is fixed by the county. We can't fudge on that. So the tax year 26, which is fiscal year 27, that we're working on, the INS rate, it has been set by the county at 0.082239 per $100 of taxable value. So it has gone down 0.009402. Our taxable value, when I was here a month ago and I gave you our estimated taxable value, it was 577 million. When we got our certified, it went down 551,657,986. So it is an increase from last year of 1.8%, but it is significantly lower than what I showed you last month. This is due to protests primarily. Again, we have no control over that. I'm going to be talking about different kinds of rates. The no new revenue rate would be if you take the exact same properties that were on the tax roll last year, you come up with a tax rate that will give you that same revenue you got last year. That rate varies because of the debt rate and their assessed values if they went up. So that's the no new revenue rate. The voter approval rate allows cities to gain a bit on the revenue. For cities under 30,000 population, which is us, we can go up 8% from the no new revenue rate. Cities over 30,000 can only go up 3.5%. If you go higher than this, then you risk going to, that a resident can start a petition and it'll go on the ballot. So, I have spoken wrong in past years. I'll just tell you that, I'm admitting it. I thought once you reduced your tax rate from your maximum, that you lost revenue forever. Well, I didn't know, because we've never done this before. There's an unused incremental rate that the county calculates if you didn't go with your VAR, or voter approval rate. We went below that last year. So the county calculated that we have an unused incremental rate of 0.007743, which is then added to the VAR. This is to help to keep cities from losing that revenue over and over again. So I admit I was wrong.
I notated the day that she told me that. She was
Huh?
wrong. I said I made sure I marked down when you told me you were wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. Okay, so this chart, our existing rate, as I said earlier, is 0.557993. It brings in a total levy to the general fund of 2624535 if we collected 100%. The county also calculates our anticipated collection rate. So they're saying we're only gonna get 98.69% of what we levy. As you can see below there, we used to be at 103.2, which I'm not real sure how you get more, but they said that. We've gone down every year to where now we're expected to only get 98.69. So if you apply that figure to the total levy, you come up with a levy of $2,590,154. This is an increase from And this is if we had our existing rate on our new certified. It would increase our revenue by 62,509. And our bottom line on the general fund would be a positive $16,015. If we went to the no new revenue rate, which as I explained, is keeping it the same as last year for those existing properties, we would actually go negative in our general fund of 25,504. And again, this is all projected based on assumptions. But if we went to the 3.5% VAR, which is what cities over 30,000 can do, we would have a net increase in our fund balance of 105,000. And if we went to our maximum, it would be 220,541. Now, this is assuming we hit every number in the budget straight on. You know, budgets are educated guesses. So, so that is the VAR 8% is the one that is I've built this budget on. I can change it. I just always push for that because, you know, I think we have a lot of building to do going forward. But it is ultimately up to you guys. This also includes that unused incremental rate of, what was it, 0.007 something. That's been added to the two VARs. If we took away that unused incremental rate, that would reduce any of these levies by $42,155. That's in that box. So I'm giving you a lot of options. We have these 4 rates, but we also have the VARs without the incremental on them, which would take that down to roughly 60,000 and 180,000 positive. So that is the options I'm giving you. Then the next page. This is what these rates would have, what effect they would have on a property. I highlighted the 250,000 because that's the closest on this chart to our median value of a home. So the majority of our homeowners would feel whatever we do at the 250,000. So at our current rate, if we didn't change our tax rate at all, their tax bill from Richwood would be $1,395. If we go to the highest, it would be $1,488, or about $90, $86 different for the year, just to tell you how that chart works. Any questions on any of that? I'm throwing a lot of terms and a lot of numbers at you, and it's kind of like hearing Greek.
Can we go back to that last one?
What's that?
Can we go back to the last one?
Yeah.
So, it looked like when I looked at the budget, and I didn't have access to this new one that you just gave us, but when I looked at the last one, it looked like almost every department in the city was under budget on the proposed budget compared to the current budget. Is that correct?
Like our current just spending in general,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's always the goal, so.
Yeah, our expenditures have gone down, in the general fund. Let me find it here. The current budget we're living in right now, our expenditures were 3.4 million, and we're proposing 3.3. So they've gone down about 100,000, overall for each one of the departments. Some of that, last year, Public Works got a new truck. You know, there were other
Right.
things that are not happening this year. We had some engineering costs in the general fund, I think. Anyway, there's things that are happening.
Well, that's what I'm curious about.
Current
So
year. that are not gonna happen this next year.
The voter approval rate of 7.9 or 8%, that's $220,000 at the end of next year added to the budget, correct?
Added to our fund.
That means that
Added to
if
the
you
budget.
add all your
Do we have
revenues,
that earmarked for something, or why would we?
no, that, so that is what you get to when you add all your revenues and take out all your expenditures. We'd have 220,000 left.
But, not to cut you off, but we missed you last month. Did you watch back the meeting when we talked about adding to contingency and capital?
Right.
So we took your comment that we had when we were talking about earmarking money, and we requested to do that, so we built that in, and then this would, yes, be the additional unrestricted, unallocated.
So,
money
one
into
thing,
under savings.
one thing, as I said earlier, our budget is an educated guess. We don't know what fiscal year 27 is gonna do. So I like to have some cushion for ups and downs, to keep us from going negative. I'm not saying we have to have 220,000. If it came in exactly what I'm projecting right now, and we had 220,000 left on 9/30, it would just add to our fund balance for the general fund, which can be then put wherever we want. It can,
We can use fund balance for a project in the next year,
yeah. So,
It could help Cliff.
of course.
it could help Cliff on the general fund side.
Yeah.
Technically, we could, with council approval, transfer it to utility projects as well.
But yes, it could be allocated.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, I feel like my job is to tell you best case scenario with the tax rate that would get us there. This does not mean we have to do this. Last year, council voted, they wanted me to calculate a rate that left $100,000 bottom line. To me, that was it's still a guess, that we get to that. But if you look at this chart, the VAR 3.5 gets us right about there. I don't wanna do the negative one, I'll just tell you guys that, and if you vote on that, that's your choice, but I don't recommend it. The existing rate, in my mind, is a little too close for comfort. I don't wanna go negative. So I would, I think we need to take advantage of that unused incremental rate. But we can do that on either of the VARs. If you wanna do the VAR 8% without that, that would lower the rate by a little bit, 0.0077. So that would bring us in that area between the two. We could do the VAR 3.5 without that. That would bring us in at about 60,000 net. Again, to me, that's a little too close. But I used to like to say that I wanted 300,000. But we weren't doing the reserves like we are now. We have increased reserve spending, or not reserve spending, reserve saving. We have started putting into the capital improvement fund with this budget. We're still putting some into the contingency fund to bring it to 2 million. And those numbers will vary until right before budget, when I can get as close to exact as I can. But those two numbers will total to 10% of expenditures. So it's really, it's where you guys, as a council, want to see us go, and where you want us going forward. I can only present to you.
Question. Is the 3.5 locked in? I mean, is that a hard number?
Yes.
It can't be changed, like the 8%.
We can pick any number whatsoever between the NNR and the VAR 8%. You guys could pick a number anywhere in that range.
Like you could pick 5%.
You could.
Yes.
Okay, I
You
didn't
can
know if
pick
that was locked
anything.
in.
These are just
Hypothetical.
the options the county gives us.
Okay.
Um,
Like a
And,
general standard
Yeah.
adoption.
yes,
But you can go in.
but, last year when they had me calculate to bring the proposed budget to 100,000 positive bottom line, that wasn't any of these numbers, that was somewhere in between.
Trish, can you explain the recapture and and you told me this, you said they recapture the prior 3 years, so if they choose to adopt a rate that doesn't recapture, next year we'll get another recapture rate. that
Yes,
also
they
includes
go
the
over
2
the,
years.
for that unused incremental rate, they go back 3 years. So last year, it was 47,000 that we didn't capture, because we went below the VAR. So that was 47,000 of revenue we didn't get last year. So that revenue now, they figured out what rate we would need to get that revenue this year. So we lost it last year, but we can get it this year. If we don't use that rate, or if we go somewhere in between anything below the VAR plus that, and they base it on the VAR 3.5, not the 8. They go back 3 years. So this year we only had 1 year because the other 2 years we went the full amount. Next year, if we didn't, we'd have 2 years that they're totaling together. So it would be the 47,000 this year and 32,000 or whatever the next year.
If we did at least 3.5 this year, next year would they give us that 47 as an option again, or is it like, okay, so it's still just those 3 years
It's the last
until
3 years.
until they fall off?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to give them all the
Yeah.
things to think about.
Yeah, so you'll use
This is
it.
new for all of us. We have
Yeah.
not had this happen with us.
I didn't know it
We didn't
existed
review this
because we've never gone below the VAR while I've been here. So it's based on the last 3 years. You lose the money the year you don't go that full rate. And if we didn't do it this year, we're losing it for the second year, but we still have that option to get it 2 more years. So.
Question for you. You may not know the numbers off the top of your head. Does the 3.4 million or 3.1 expenditures this year, does that include the money that was set aside for the contingency funds and
No.
general fund?
No, so if you look at, I don't know what, I should have had these pages numbered. But the page that, the first category says emergency disaster. It's about 5th page, I think. So a little over halfway down, it says total expenditures. So
it says 3.4.
3.346 is our projected expenditures.
And we brought in 3.8 this year. So we had a $400,000 surplus this year. Is that an accurate statement?
Let me look here. Yes, right now, so as of June 30th,
Yeah.
we're 470,000 ahead. But that's only,
That doesn't
8
include
months.
in what we talked about last month, ensuring it's not contingency fund or whatever you call it.
the capital
The
improvement.
capital
fund.
improvement. So yeah, we take capital improvement up to 2 million, or contingency fund up to 2 million, and then put the rest in capital improvement, correct?
So when you look at the budget, the total expenditures are what it costs to run the city, the operation of the city.
Yeah.
Okay? Then below that are sources. Those are things brought in from other funds, which it shows 25,000 transferred in. That is for the software. We had talked last month about getting new software, and the court technology fund paying 25,000 toward the implementation. That's what that's brought in. So it's not really revenue to the city, it's just kind of a, okay? And then uses are transfers out. So we have a transfer to contingency fund of 108,500 and a transfer to capital projects of 226. So you take your revenue, less your expenditures, and then add the sources, subtract the uses. So then on the next page, that's your bottom line. So you can see under 2026 budget, it came in right at 100,000 because that's what they instructed me to do. Right now, well, I shouldn't say right now, The actuals on this budget form right now are through 6/30. When I bring, the proposed budget for approval next month, I'll have it updated. But I did 6/30 so that our departments had a gauge of where they could see where their spending was. But so right as of 6/30, we're 470,000 ahead.
So would it be an accurate statement to assume that we're over this year, 450, 460,000, whichever one we approve on here, if we went back one slide, it would add to that 450,000.
So that 400 and some thousand, we've gotten 90% of our income in already at this point.
So we've
It's
reached
630.
98%,
But we
right?
still have,
3 months to go.
but we still have 3 months of expenses. So that's gonna go down. We're still getting sales tax in, we're still getting a trickle of property tax, but we're at like 98 point something % of our property tax that we're gonna collect in.
Okay.
So this is, it inflates the bottom line early in the year.
That's what I mean.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that's what I look for.
So when I come next month, I'll have a better idea for you. I will project, I'll go to the end of August and then I'll project for September to give you harder numbers to see where we're gonna land. There's still projection for a month. It'll be closer to that 100,000, but I think we're gonna be ahead still. Our revenues are down, but we also haven't spent, we've had salaries that haven't been spent because we've had missing police officers, missing, different, some positions now are lower paid than they were a year ago, that type of thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
And just for clarification, like what we're voting on today is not the actual tax rate, it is the maximum we could go
Yes,
up
setting
to
your-
at
So-
another 80.
The language that the state sets out is very, very confusing on this record tax vote. What we're telling the taxpayers is that the city of Richwood will not enact a tax rate higher than this amount we're saying today. Now, when it comes out the paper, it's gonna look like we're raising our taxes that much. Maybe we are. We're not deciding till next month, although I'd like some guidance. But this tax, we are not setting the tax rate. After tonight, we can't go higher. So if you said, our record tax rate is 0.574494, we can't then go to the VAR 8%. We could go below or at the VAR 3.5, as an example. So I always ask that you vote in your record vote for the highest one I'm presenting. That gives us flexibility. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. We don't know if something's gonna come off the Gulf in a week. Or we just don't know. So if you go lower, you've shrunk our possibilities. Now, it's only for a month, but it's still, it gives us.
We're also waiting on insurance premiums.
We're
so
waiting
we
to
don't
work,
confirm
yeah,
exactly.
insurance premiums. I did build in 10% increase on insurance, but some years that's only a fourth of what they went up. Hopefully not this year. But a few years ago, they went up over 40%. I think it was 49. So we want to vote on the highest one, just to give us the opportunity to be flexible as we work.
So you're looking for 2 types of guidance tonight, right? One, to set a ceiling on our tax rate. There are 2 guidance for you to actually create a budget. Is that
The
kind of
budget,
understanding?
so when you vote on a budget, you're voting on the expenditures. You're not voting on the revenue because revenue is gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But you're voting on a tax rate. I present a budget, and I think every city does, with the revenue showing the revenue for that tax rate you're gonna approve. So I would like some guidance of where you guys would like to be so that I can bring a budget document to you that reflects that. Just like last month, you gave me guidance on the utility rates. tonight I'd like you to kind of give a consensus of where you want that tax rate to be. That doesn't mean we can't change it if the unforeseen comes or something, but that gives me guidance.
I'll make a motion to,
Well, this one's not action.
so we're not actually.
No,
No,
she,
fine.
we're doing
Wait a
this
minute.
discussion, general discussion to give
Yeah,
her
this is
ideas.
discussion and guidance
Yeah.
to me, then when we get to the item, there's exact language we have to use.
Yeah, just, we just, last year, our council's prerogative was like, focus on the bottom line. We didn't know if y'all are more interested in what that rate actually looks like, or the bottom line, or
Like dollar figure.
how you want it to look, so we know how to go forward. If you want her to look at it without recapturing that amount that the council decided to forego last year, that's your call also. We just wanna bring you a budget, because that's when we have to formally publish it. Actually, today we put it out there, we're gonna put it out there, in the morning after,
Yeah, we have to send to the county what your record vote is.
yeah. And then we'll post.
Now, I do want to clarify one thing with that incremental rate. If you use it this year, it doesn't mean you don't have it next year. You get it every year, but it's within those 3 years. So it's not a once and done.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify that.
So when are we gonna actually vote on the tax rate?
Next month.
Next month.
So we do this record vote so that way we can put out legally required notices to the public. We publish it in the paper, we put postings on the website, and then that gives the public a month notice of your city's possibly gonna go this high, and you're welcome to attend the public hearing. So after y'all motion on all these public hearings, then that gives us the green light to publish these notices to get the residents informed of what's gonna happen.
And when
next
we
month.
take the vote on the record vote, we have to go one at a time. Because we have to publish who voted yes, who voted no. This is all required by our laws. So I would just like to get, some guidance. First of all, if there's anything in the budget document that you think we haven't covered enough, or that you've changed your mind on and should be included. This includes everything we've talked about, including the software, and I felt like that was pretty resounding yes. Like I said earlier, it includes that $25,000 transfer. It includes, really a pretty bare bones budget, because I think we all, as we worked through the budget, with all the changes that have occurred in this city in the last several months, we all just wanted to kind of maintain status quo. We're not asking for big things except the software. Cliff doesn't have a list of equipment he wants to include. There's some necessary projects in the enterprise fund, but otherwise, this is pretty bare bones what it's gonna take to run this city. And then, going forward, next year, we'll reevaluate, and maybe we can start doing some improvements, some capital projects, fixing streets, or, but this year, we don't have anything big, that we're asking for right now, correct? Am I correct?
Right, it'll all be next year.
So, one thing, when you consider the tax rate, it's not money that's just gonna sit in a pile and look pretty. It's, money that we could use next year for the projects that he's got mulling around in that brain of his, so,
And that's perfect. Like, one of the things I was, sitting here thinking about was, I have no problem looking at a VAR of 8%, right? None. Because you spend an hour with Cliff, and you'll want to hand him money for infrastructure needs, right? And so I don't have any issue in doing that, but I think the public certainly should have some idea of what these big projects are coming up, right? That this is why we have, so much money in reserve right now. We're, what would you say, $100,000 at the end of this year, then we're looking at $220,000 in addition at the end of next year, right? Like, the public should have some understanding that,
Right.
We're just not grabbing a bunch of money and saying,
Right.
thank you very much.
And
It is going
Exactly, that's
somewhere.
today's staff.
and in fiscal year 20 I work in so many different years, I gotta think. Fiscal year 25, that was last year. Our budget included 700,000 to repair 2 streets. And that was transferred out of our fund balance in the general fund to the transportation fund, so Cliff could fix, right, 2 streets? Huh?
There was one in Cypress Misty Court, sorry,
That's 2 streets.
they do.
So that's the type of thing we're looking at. He has, when we got the streets master plan, he has a whole hierarchy of streets, top to bottom, of who needs work first. Those are the type of things I'm talking about. Our fund balance sits there. We want 6 months worth of expenditures there in case the bottom falls out. But above that, we can use it for streets. We can use it for anything you got, drainage, parks, anything that you guys approve. It's not gonna go to waste. There's a lot of work to be done in this city. We've made a lot of headway, but there's a lot more to go. So, I feel like I just keep saying, let's stick money here for later. But he's got $30 million of projects to do. It's just where you guys feel comfortable. And that's one of the reasons I give you the chart showing how much the rates change for a household. And I know year by year, it adds up. But the changes in each year are, a trip to El Toro. And I realize we have families that can't afford to go to El Toro. I'm not trying to diminish that. But I'm just saying, there's not a huge insurmountable difference between top and bottom of the rates. But when you put them all together, it can make a big difference for Cliff and the jobs he has to do. Any other comments or questions? Anything I didn't touch on?
Please don't. We are so
I
appreciative
don't-
of y'all's
I
interaction.
want to hear you guys' thoughts.
Do you want them to provide you a percentage or a solid number tonight?
You guys did so great last month in kind of getting a consensus without really having to go through the vote process for the 5% increase on utilities. If you guys could kind of do that again, it's great. But I know it's hard. There's so many options.
I'll tell you, I'll throw what I'm leaning towards, the 3.5, and I say that because it covers, so looking this year, we got a $400,000 surplus. If you do the 3.5, that covers the $95,000 increase between the software annuals, or the software implementation, and the pay raises for the employees. So that covers that 100,000. If you did the 3.5 plus the incremental. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I think we've probably brought in enough money. Personally, I think the city should break even. You shouldn't, we're not in the money-making business. There's other ways to do capital projects, and if you're throwing, literally we bring in $4 million. If you have $2 million in capital or in general fund, $2 million in contingency funds, and you're dumping, $220,000 into capital projects, that's probably what we can afford. That's probably responsible. So I think where we're at this year, I like this budget, kind of the $100,000 mark. I'm kind of leaning to mirror that, plus provide that ERP is pretty critical, I think, because that runs all of this behind
And
the
that
scenes.
is built into the budget.
And then the 4% increase in raise, that funds that as well. So I'm kind of leaning that away. That's where I'm at. That's my mindset.
With the unused incremental included.
Include that. So it'd be 3 point.
The one
It would be the
that's- it'd be that
574,494.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That has the incremental in there.
that's kind of where I'm thinking.
Any
But
other-
tonight, I'd almost like to see both of them, at the 8% and then 3.5, but I know that puts more work onto you, right? So,
You'd like to do what?
like
You wanna see the
tonight,
budget with it, but with both?
no, so tonight I would tell you, if I had to vote tonight, I would say the 8%. But then I would tell you while you're doing the budget, I would lean toward the
Gotcha,
3.5.
so for the record vote, you're good with the 8,
Oh, yeah.
gotcha.
That way in case I look at you and they're like, oh man, we cut our nose off.
Yeah,
Right.
it just gives us more,
You just need the ceiling number from council, and then we go from there for next month. So if y'all are all fine with 8, we don't vote on it tonight. We
We'll
just-
vote on the 8 tonight.
we vote on the
Yeah,
8
that-
tonight
but
as
that's
the
not a
max.
hard number.
Right.
But I just
But
would
she
like
wants
to
know
have
Of what you're leaning
kind
towards
of a
for the market.
consensus of, you don't all have to agree, but
Right.
what would be approved next month?
Right.
It does, I mean, I can change on the fly, you know, I can bring whatever you guys want. I just like to come ready and with your guys' intention in mind. So,
8,
you say 8? Is that what you said?
just me.
Puts 9, 8.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So puts 9,
For that purpose,
Yes, exactly. For
that gives you your big window,
Yes,
and we
I
narrow
mean,
it from
that's,
there.
we're clear on that part, she's meaning more of what we're,
definitive, for the second piece.
yeah. Like,
'Cause right now-
what number do you want, what bottom line, or what number are you wanting her to base our,
You know,
the
sticking
budget
between
that
3
we're
and a half
gonna
and 8.
propose?
Is that what you're wanting?
No.
So right now, the budget that you have in front of you
Is based
is
on the
built
8,
with the 8.
that bottom line.
I can bring it back just like that, and we can always change it if you guys go to a lower rate before we publish our approved budget. What you're approving is the expenditures. But I just like to come so that you know what you're voting on. If you want to wait and not really give me an idea, that's fine. And we can just do the record vote tonight. But if you guys are all of a consensus, when Kai and Randy said 8, are you talking about the ceiling or are you talking about the actual rate?
Ceiling.
The
the
ceiling.
ceiling.
I mean, I think I think we have enough here. I mean, the main thing for me was wanting to just make sure that having these numbers and having these bottom lines, are we still all good with these expenditures? We still feel comfortable approving software. It's not a dire need, but it is an asset to the city to do that on, you know, and it'll touch all departments. So we just wanna make sure that we're good. Whatever y'all come with, I mean, whether it's 3.5 or 8, we're gonna make this work and still provide the best service we can to the residents.
Okay.
We were just talking in staff, I think if we can, I mean, last thing we want is to not look transparent or be transparent, but I think if the residents can start seeing that their money is working and it is getting stuff done and we are planning things to do with this excess and then we're saving on the side, I think it's a little easier to swallow rates. But when it doesn't look like much is getting done or they're
Right.
seeing any benefits of it,
Right.
that's when it becomes, it's concerning to me also. I don't want us to ever look
And-
like we're not.
And I feel my job as finance director is to give you your options. And your job is to, you know, where you're comfortable, where you feel the citizens would be most comfortable. And I will build it on whatever. As I said, you're gonna be voting on the budget expenditures next month. And you're voting on the tax rate separately. Have to do the budget first.
We have to spend it before we can make it.
Yes, we have to, you approve the budget, then you approve the tax rate. And, you know, we can bring it to where it's a 0 bottom line, we can bring it to 220. As I said, I used to push for 300,000 bottom line, but we weren't saving into our reserves. We are now. So if we wanna go with the 3.5, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with any of them because you're the council and you guys decide. And I just work with it. We're probably gonna end up this year a little better than 100,000, but nowhere near the 400,000 that it shows right now, just because, you know, we spend quite a bit a month, and the revenue's not coming in. Sales tax, if you look at it, it looks like a roller coaster. You start thinking, oh, we're making more sales tax, and then it plummets. It was down this year. Next year it could be up. You know, our economy is bad right now with prices. People aren't, you know, maybe spending like they did. Next year, maybe, you know, they'll have money that they wanna spend. So it's really hard to predict in a volatile economy. All we can do is base it on history, but any of the revenues could fluctuate, except really property tax. So,
It's just important to note that we will not meet again before there is a decision made, so if you have questions in between, reach out. So that way we can come prepared. We'll have public hearing, we'll listen to the public. So we'll be ready to make a motion next month with a rate. A rate has to be specific.
But by all means, when you guys go home and you start thinking through this, reach out with the questions. I would rather answer questions than have you vote with unanswered questions, or to have them asked here without me being able to prepare, so that I can answer the best I can.
Would it be too much to ask from you if you would run these numbers with 150,000 in your general fund? You know, in between 3.5 and 8, see what 150,000 would do for
I
us?
mean, it would be, so you see the VAR 8% without UIR, in the box. That rate, 0.587817,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
gonna be about 180, 178. So I mean, it's gonna be, you know, if we went to 150, I could calculate that. It's not a big deal. I can't do it in my head right now.
No, I know.
But, we could do that too.
I know Mr. Johnson is a hard number
Yeah,
council member, and that's how we got to that number last year.
right.
Well, we
So,
can look at the difference in the revenues of the two and bring a rate that matches the middle too.
yeah,
So we'll bring exact rates with numbers and change in fund balance.
I mean, did you get what?
Between 3.5 to 8.
Yeah.
We will work in the middle there. and
well,
you can
I can
choose
bring a
then.
couple of the rates in between.
Okay.
And if you have any questions,
You got what you needed from council?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. So yeah, anything else on it? And the enterprise budget that's in that budget I gave you, includes that 5% increase. That's the only thing that changed there. So, yeah, I think we're in good shape. Like I said, we only have one number really we're waiting on, and that is the insurance. But that should be coming any day. And we'll let you know in the weekly update when we get it, what percentage it went up or down.
But before you move on, that 9869, is there any way we can get that close? I mean, not personally, but how do we get that closer to 100 again?
I mean, they have collections agencies they use.
Yeah,
to try
that's
and
up to the
bring it
county.
in.
We don't collect our
Okay,
own
okay.
tax rate or our own tax levy. They go through the county. They have a legal firm that does collections for them. I have a feeling, I've never really talked to them of how we got up to
That's what I'm thinking, and
103%.
it was passed.
I think it was probably a lot of delinquent tax.
All at once?
So that took us above the levy. When you see tax year 25 at 99.33 and tax year 25 at 98.89, and now we're at 98.69, there's gonna be a lot of delinquent now, on the books. So we may see it go up again, or we may see it hit one more down, I don't know. But we don't calculate that, and we don't control it.
How many years back can you see that from the,
This is what I have.
I just wanna know if it keeps doing this,
Yeah, this is what I have, but I could probably call and ask.
or if it's historically gonna keep going down.
I don't know.
No, okay. I didn't know if we had any control over that.
None at all.
Okay.
Go door to door and say, have you paid your taxes? One. But, yeah, and that's one nice thing about how it's set up here is that we don't have to do the collecting.
Yeah.
The county does it, and so we don't have to get on the backs of our residents for it. But that also takes away some of the control that we have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Thank you for that short explanation.
So now, well, it's your job to say what the next item is, but I'm just gonna go on to it.
The language of the need to read is actually the item, so don't worry. Oh, okay, absolutely, yeah. I just
You need me to do what?
So normally you announce what the next item is. I'm
Okay.
just gonna keep talking.
So are you done with your slideshow?
Yes.
Okay.
We're on the E now.
Yes.
Consider and record a vote on the proposed tax rate of 0.595560 for fiscal year 2026-2027, which represents an increase of up to 7.9% above the no new revenue tax rate for the city of Richwood. Proposed tax rate is scheduled to be adopted at a future meeting.
So if whoever makes the motion has to read to approve a proposed tax rate and go on to where it says ritual. That's the language we have to use.
So they might as well just read the entire thing
They can
with
get
that percent.
that gets the job done.
And then we obviously have to have a second, and then we have to vote one at a time.
Next month or this month?
Now.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt to do it next month.
I can't be the one reading it again.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed tax rate of 0.595560 for fiscal year 2026 through 2027, which represents an increase of 7.9% above the no new revenue tax rate for the city of Richwood.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Rao, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Dunn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. York, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, let the record reflect, that motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you introducing the next two?
Okay, moving on to F, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 26-R-8, setting the date and time for the public hearing on fiscal year 2026-2027 annual budget for September 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
So the next two items are formality to make sure we can get these notices posted for our public hearings. So we just need approval to set public hearing and we'll get the ads put up.
That one was easier than the last, so.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 26R8, setting a date and time of the public hearing on the fiscal year 2026-2027 annual budget for September 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
One second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let the record reflect, the motion carries. Moving on to G. Discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 26-R-9, setting the date and time for the public hearing on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2026-2027 for September 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
The same,
Same thing.
just for tax rate.
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 26R9, setting the date and time for the public hearing on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2026-2027 for September 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Item to approve consent agenda was only A for future time, future meeting?
No, it's 2 days.
Okay.
So for the approval of the personnel policy, I sent that out to you all, and in my memo, I said that it had no financial implications on our budget. It did. I did not intend to leave in that vacation provision. There was actually 2 other policies that I pulled out of this approval because I feel like it affects our budget and council deserves to have a workshop on that and talk about it. One was a sick leave pool and the other was parental leave. I didn't propose parental leave, but it had been discussed in a previous review. A little bit of a backstory on the personnel policy. We've been reviewing this policy since 2019. We did a months-long review with staff to go through every policy, make changes, and this is in 2019. We had a change of administration. It never came to council. So it was my goal to get it done. And so in January this year, I did a complete overhaul while keeping the spirit of that review together, along with best practices and current law. And I did this current policy that I present to you today. So I did keep that parental leave provision as a policy to present at a later date. And then the sick leave pool. That's not something I want to venture into right now while we're trying to get switched over to this new HR company. So when Steve brought it up to me that we're going to be paying out vacation leave, which is not something we currently do, I wanted to go ahead and remove that also until we can discuss with council. And actually, Trish and I sit down and work numbers to see how that would even affect us if every person in the city got paid out 10 hours at the end of the year. So the policy I'm presenting to you that I put on your desks is to put no salary provisions in lieu of vacation, which this is the exact policy we follow now. You can carry over 40 hours. If you don't, you lose it, or you can write a letter to the city manager explaining why you didn't get to use it, and it's a case-by-case basis of carrying leave over. Usually we had a hurricane, nobody got to take off for 4 months or whatever we have, or you didn't get your vacation until November and you couldn't take 80 hours in between November and December. So few and far between, maybe 1 or 2 a year if we do at all that we carry over leave. So that's that change. The other definition the other policy I wanted to amend with you here on the fly was the definitions. A few years ago, we got into a little bit of an issue with what's considered full-time, not full-time, and we had to switch health benefits because of this. So we clarified a little bit about what entitles you as a full-time employee to benefits. But in our conversations, it did not exactly define how many hours a full-time employee is, which could leave an employee to feel entitled that just because I work 32 hours, I'm not part-time, so maybe an employee feels like they could work 32 hours, which is not the case. So I went in there and added additional language that it says that a full-time employee is somebody who at least works 40 hours per work week. So that's the only change to that definition. Our work week is still 40 hours. That's not changing. We just wanted to get a little bit more specific so there was no gray area for somebody to say, oh, well, your policy says it's 32 hours. So that's that. HRMP has reviewed this. I sent it to them a few weeks ago for their legal team and their HR, our rep to review it and make sure that it complies with law and best practices. And they did not send back any adjustments or notes to what I sent them. Did not send it to our legal team because they have employment attorneys that reviewed it also. So I just need to see if we can get this approved so that way we can move forward with the new company. Today is our last day of payroll in our own bubble. So starting tomorrow, we are with HRMP for timekeeping in all of their services, officially like rip the Band-Aid off. We're going. So I want to get these done, and so they have a clean slate of policies to go forward when our employees need them.
I got a question.
Yes.
So the current policy says that on leave without pay for 10 days, that council has to approve anything over 10 days, but the new policy says that goes to you without council authority. Is that correct?
Let me reread it. I dug deep into these in February, but let me pull it back up so I can answer it. Which policy we're talking? I think it was the one I sent y'all where it has the notes, the changes. Do you know which policy number it is off the top of your head? Or no?
Yeah, so 1004.
Okay.
Next time I'll give you advance notice.
No,
Sorry
we're
about
good.
that.
You're not, no bother at all. It's taking me just a second. Okay.
I guess my real question is then, is there a maximum duration of time that the city manager can authorize? After you, sorry.
A lot of policies refer back to stuff else.
Thought we were gonna change the verbiage of full-time to 60 hours.
My resignation will be in tomorrow.
I mean, y'all do it already, so
But it's not required.
I'll do it with a smile.
With the courtesy. Okay, I'm here for it.
What's Cliff's at 120 a week?
At Cliff's like, oh, that'd be part-time.
I'll get to see my house.
Steve, I think this came back to, remember we had the employees that were out and the council did grant approval, to additional leave without pay, which was outside of, I guess, according to our current benefit administrator at the time, it was outside of their purview to be able to do. So I think what this is, my goal with this, changing this was that, the city manager would have to then approve it. And you said 1004 where it's saying request, department directors may approve short-term leave without pay requests consistent with this policy, and the requests that would material impact operations go to the city manager. Because we removed that 10-day provision, I think, altogether. That was the 2019 proposed language, and then what I'm proposing is no longer gonna be a 10-day at all. It's to maintain that 32 hours, which would be allowing 8 hours of unpaid leave, approval, like allowable by a director, and then anything else has to go to the city manager for approval. That way we can ensure that employees that are using more leave without pay than probably allowed are eligible for FMLA and still maintain their status for benefits. I think putting it to council, by granting it, it was outside their even scope of ability to give them leave without pay.
I'm
Because,
absolutely good with the change.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that 10 day is out because I think that was just a number that was chosen by, I mean, we left it in that 2019 proposed, if you look at the working document that I sent out separately. We removed that 10 days altogether because we want to maintain this, regular employee or the part-time schedule, or make sure they don't dip down to a part-time equivalent, because if you're part-time equivalent, you don't get benefits. And we needed to set a hard line of, especially since we are no longer with a pool, we have a little bit more power. We didn't then at the time, we didn't know we didn't have that power. So council at this point, I think, could grant as much leave without pay as they wanted to, because we're privately partnered with our insurance and no longer in like a pool. But I think we wanted to remove that number and just do it case by case basis, and as long as they qualify for disability or FMLA, then that's what the city manager is able to approve.
Okay, that helps. On the red line version that you sent me, the 10 was still in there, that's fine.
I see here in the
I'm clear.
2019 proposed, yeah. No, I don't want that to be in there, for sure. I think that it's a strength number anyways to be down to 30. That's more than, I mean, it doesn't encompass a full day to be at 30 hours. But yes, I don't want the 10 days in there. I think we just need to ensure that if we have an employee on leave without pay, that they are still eligible for their benefits and don't put the rest of the staff at risk by being out.
Got a quick question on.
Yeah.
Does the definitions of employee and volunteer directly conflict with each other with what we got going on? We have paid volunteers, and then we have the fire department wanting to be a paid volunteer.
We don't have a paid volunteer. And I'll clarify that a little bit since we're talking about personnel. The executive director for KRB is paid out of their funds, and she is a stipend employee of KRB. She's not an employee. And it's not of the city, it's of that group. And I've addressed this with the fire department also, that they maybe could look at an administrative person that they pay out of their funds. The city's funds do not go towards the KRB director's stipend.
If we leave this language in here and we do the, pay to play volunteer fire department, does that put that in conflict? Like, do we make them
I would
essentially employees at that point?
Well, I definitely plan to have that conversation with HRMP if we go that route. After the mayors and I meeting with them, they don't want it. They told me not to worry about, they don't want to be paid per call. They want me to help with recruitment and social media and getting their name out there, and so that's what we've been doing. I've tried to follow them to calls to get pictures of them, and that's what we're gonna do for now. Try and give them more help. But they don't want to lose their discount, and then they made a good point. If we start paying them per call, it affects their taxes. It could affect things that they currently, they don't wanna deal with personally. That's what they were bringing up to me. So, we are not moving forward with that at this point.
Okay.
But if we did, then we would look at new definitions and get HRP to help us with that, for sure.
Do you need council to approve?
I do.
Okay, somebody needs to make a motion to approve consent agenda item A.
Making a motion to, approve consent agenda item A, approval of the revised personnel policy handbook.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Next up, capital improvement projects update.
There's nothing new, to really report on. I think it might be good to make mention with regards to the talks tonight and money, additional potential monies. And, you know, the promises aren't without action. You know, we're looking at several things, fairly immediately. Could be some parks improvements with assistance from a grant. We plan to propose a fairly decent sized drainage improvement next year, somewhere to the tune of $400,000. We have some capital improvements, some outdated electrical. It's coming out probably somewhere between 150 and 200,000. That's all coming council's way next year. Right now, the major infrastructure, via the water tower is currently under consideration with the grant. But even the parks projects, something like that, the grants are a 1-to-1 match. The initial project for the park is $880,000. So we're looking at a possible contribution of $440,000, if we can qualify for the grant. So these things are coming to council, and they're coming in the next year. Those are three of the dozens that I could throw out there. I've got to try to prioritize them to some degree. But they're coming your way, so please know that decisions you make are not, it's not unwarranted. There's several things that we need to do. And we did decide to hold off on a lot of those this year, just with all the movement, but it's coming to you.
If I could just make one comment I thought of, we can amend our budget. So if something like this comes, we can amend our budget to allow for it. But once that tax rate is set, it's set. We can't go back and say, oh, I wish we would have that 200,000 or whatever. I just wanted to make that clear.
Is it possible to overlay budget talks with our 5 and 10 year plans? Can we talk about like what, basically making the citizens aware of what that capital improvement projects would be? If I said, hey Cliff, if we had $500,000 left over next year, which we're projected, out of our 10-year plan, can we check anything off?
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do something like that. When we had the master planning done, it's important for council to know that the only one that we had tiered per year blocks, 5, 10, 15, 25, were the water and wastewater. So the streets, the drainage, and the parks master plan are not, we left that all to council to decide. To be honest, we didn't know where the funding was coming from. So we didn't get as detailed. We wanted to get the high-level projects, kind of get them itemized by, or prioritized by public input, staff input, council input, and let y'all decide as we go. Right now, we're just using public input, but yeah, we can begin to start working on that.
And used to, we would have, workshops where we would bring someone in to help council come up with a strategic plan and a plan of what they wanted to see for so far. We got to the point where we were strategic planning, but we had no money to do anything, so it was like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
But that's not a bad idea, now that we're getting ourselves into a better position, and we're needing things and needing to come up with, there's people that will come to us and hold Saturday workshops for us and walk y'all through coming up with that kind of plan.
We could do
Before
that,
budget, we used to would do it in May after elections.
but hopefully you'll agree, this council's far easier to work with than those councils were, and they desperately needed
Guidance.
that guidance before we started getting some of these plans in place for something tangible for council to look at and actually have something, to base their decisions on. So we can do that. for
Yeah,
sure.
and to the point of Bob with the workshops and having them all day, it's mainly because we didn't have much we could plan for or do, but we're getting to a point where we could have these, where we sit down and have a lot longer discussion on funds and what we're gonna do with them down the road instead of just looking at 1 year at a time.
It's
We've
not-
been 1 year at a time for many years.
I think it would be far more productive now
Yeah.
than it was back then, especially with our current financial position.
Yeah.
And getting a little bit better and a little bit more solid. But really, to be honest with you, where the metal meets the meat, we haven't done much 5-10 year planning. We're lucky to get 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
It's just,
Thank you for thirsty goodness.
I think once-
curveballs are just,
Yeah, once we get through this, we should, maybe Trish and I can sit down and look at a new budget calendar. And
It just makes
And
that
work it in a little
$220,000 more palatable.
it does.
If I know it's
Agreed.
gonna go to.
Right,
100%.
absolutely.
and I agree, and 6 years ago, our fund balances were not anywhere near where they are now.
Right.
We worked hard to get them there.
And I've,
You know.
I've actually been kind of waiting to start dropping these
Mhm.
bombs.
Yeah,
We couldn't really do anything without any sort of, I can't tell you any $30 million, there's no way to
Yeah.
tell you how to produce it, or to get it produced with funding, I can't, but now we're looking better and we can start those discussions.
Yeah, we'll get a plan in place for the next year.
Oh, yeah.
While we're kind of thrown into this in May, all together. So we're gonna come back next year with a better
oh yeah.
process
This year
and
we're-
plan. And we have lots of ideas, so
This
it's,
year we were chasing our tail to get to this point.
Yeah.
But it'll actually be nice to be able to actually plan beyond, let's hold our head above water this year.
We're feeling more confident with that now than we ever have.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I have to say.
Well, Cliff, I appreciate you saying that. Like, the decisions that I'm making up here, I realize are not just going to affect us this year or the next budget year. These are things that will affect us for 5 years, 10 years down the road, right? So that's why I was, looking at the rate like I was. I know you have a lot of stuff that needs to get done, but I appreciate you saying that because it helps the citizens understand as well that, again, we're not just trying to rake in a bunch of money. We got stuff to do.
So as soon as y'all told us we could get some plans going, we were looking.
And just so you know, I missed one slide. I didn't go to the last slide, but that'll show you guys history of our tax rate.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes, thank you. But they need to pay attention to this stuff, otherwise all they see is increased taxes and
Well,
pitchforks come out.
We'll also do our part to make it public once we can get a little bit more solid direction. We'll do our due diligence to make sure the word gets out.
We've been playing catch up and now we can move forward.
It's not easy to put out these big ideas when we don't know if we're gonna get them funded. So it's like, I have been stewing on just our parks master plan that we did. We put out a really cool looking park, and we're almost 2 years later, and it's like,
And hopefully council
Yeah.
understands that,
yeah,
$20,000, $50,000, a little bit more palatable than $400,000 to $1 million. And that is very honestly what we're looking at here, very easily what we're looking at. What we could like, just the stuff we need to do now, nothing extra.
And I hate to pass up free money because we don't have the other half, the match.
No new trucks, Cliff. We gotta save it for the parks.
But we got those too.
There's $60,000 in your budget for a new truck.
Okay, thank you, Cliff.
Loaded.
City manager report.
So again, thanks to Trish and all the staff for their work on the budget. And I say it again, I said it earlier, but I really do appreciate all of council taking the time to ask questions and be involved, outside of the meeting, reaching out to us separately and then bringing it back here to all, brainstorm together. It helps us tremendously. It catches things that we may not catch. We are spread thin right now, and, having another set of eyes, we're not offended. It's anything you ask us, and we need all the help, and that's why you're here. You're here to be the second set of eyes to things we do. And I want to thank all of our new council members that are attending new council training. Mr. Dunn just got back, and then I won't blame him for not being able to go, but he did want to go. And then Councilman Ryle and Mayor are going this week for newly elected officials training. I have been city secretary since 2019. I have not had anyone ever go. I've always put it out there. And they are taking time out of their own days, their own work, their own lives, whatever they do normally to travel hours to be better for the city, and I appreciate it. It won't be the last thing that I probably ask y'all to do on behalf of the city, and I think y'all are up to the task and are going to represent us well. School starts this week. I'm sure I'm going to jump all of you on your comments, but just be careful, keep your eyes and ears open for kids. They're going to be walking, riding bikes, and it's going to be a little bit more hectic in the neighborhoods this week. And then thanks to the police department, they've had some heavy calls the last few months, one this weekend, and our thoughts are out to all the families affected, and then our officers that have to go out for that also. Fire department's been kicking butt and taking names, and we're appreciative of them also. I'm trying to tag along when I can because I want to be in their business and see what they're doing. They won't get me a uniform though.
I just want you to drive the truck.
I can drive.
Halloween costumes are coming out.
I can drive one, but that's all I got.
Oh, gosh. Yes, they are. Thank you. Councilmember Ryle, do you have anything you wish to add?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Round Rock and learning what I'm doing here. This is kind of overwhelming for someone that hasn't done anything politically in a long time. I don't want to get my age, a long time. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do.
We appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Dunn?
Want to say, Bob, if you're listening, thanks for the remarks. Much appreciated. Your comments didn't go unnoticed. I would tell you, there's consideration on all fees on all sides. And there's nothing in this world that's not going up in price. So I think we did the due diligence, and please have faith in us in that aspect. Thanks for kind of letting me go to that TML training. It was much appreciated, very enlightening. You will talk a lot about tax rates. Unfortunately, you'll get some more of it. No, I made it pretty easy to digest everything that we're hearing last month and this month with budgeting. So you'll kind of learn that. And then it's good to get in a room with 300 individuals from across the state, and you realize how green our grass is. You realize how good the city truly is. So makes you appreciate coming back here. Other than that, it is back to school. Tonight was meet the teacher, so school zones ideally. The lights will be working on 2004 there, and watch out and be safe.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember York?
No, the only thing I have, I apologize for not being able to make the meeting, it was an unfortunate accident, so other than that, I'm pretty good. I appreciate everybody showing up. I wish we had a little more attendance, but if anybody's watching, I really encourage them to show up and give their input. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. That's our regular.
Tricia,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. I know how much work you guys put into the budget preparation, so.
You used to hear the screaming.
I'm sorry?
You used to hear the screaming from the
I
other
did
side.
used to hear the screaming. I'm glad I don't hear it anymore. Like, this is a wonderful season for me. So, thank you all very much. I appreciate the work. That's it.
That's it. Well, I quadruple or second or third or whatever you wanna say, thank y'all for the budget. I know you'll work hard in it. I love coming up here and seeing what you guys are up to daily, because y'all are like bees in the beehive. I never get to go on Cheapside over there. I know you're busy. You know, I appreciate all that y'all are doing for the city. So it does not go unnoticed. I wish I could stop by more, because when I do get to stop by, Gibson loves to play with y'all. He likes to take funds from the city, like trash grabbers and raccoon suits, so we might go over budget this year, but
That's KRB.
It's scary.
I know,
We're
I
happy to
know.
do it.
I'll keep them out of here. Other than that, the principal at Polk asked that everybody drive safe around there. If not, she's gonna put out spike strips, because she cares about all the little kiddos. And everybody stay cool, be safe out there. Chief Richards, I know, wants everybody to be safe in their, after-hours activities as well. And again, our prayers and thoughts are with all that were affected, even our officers that were there early in the morning. Moving forward, I think that we have some good numbers for you to finalize for our budget and carry forward to the next year. So Cliff can have more toys, as I always say. So thank you guys for all your hard work, everybody in the city, even our fire staff that we never get to see. I know they're busy, but I do, they probably are. I do appreciate everything I know they made a couple fires since we were here last, so. I'll bring the marshmallows next time. And that's all I have. Do we have any items of community interest?
We are accepting applications for charter review and CCPD. They're all on our website for anyone that is interested. Other than that, I met with KRB last week. They have their meeting, and this Saturday for just an hour, 9 a.m. Saturday morning, they are really needing some help at the community garden. It's being overtaken by fire ants. And so we're just gonna meet there about 8:45 and work for an hour, and just, anyone that is able to come and help them out. I'll be out there and, just to help them with their garden for an hour. So that would be great.
Everybody gets to pick up fire ants.
Yeah.
And no kids, adults only. We're trying
Yeah,
to-
adults only. No
Yeah.
volunteers from schools
No
or any
children.
organizations, just adults.
Mayor, can I make one comment?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Laura Tyner in public. We've had an employee out on leave, and Laura had to get pulled back into her old role, and at the same time learn her new role. She's been kicking butt. The employee came back today. Hopefully it'll ease up on Laura now some, but I just wanted to thank her in public.
She's been very
Thank you.
helpful. She's been helping me out as well and giving me grief. But
I
everybody's
taught her
good to
well.
me.
I taught her well.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Have any future agenda items we'd like to add?
So, we're gonna bring the software agreement. I did not, Joe, he's our rep that's been, helping us out a lot. He wanted to come tonight, but I had to let him know I was not putting the agreement on this agenda, just because I wanted to give y'all an option out to get out of it. If you didn't wanna do it, we would understand. So we're gonna have the fund you agreement on next agenda, and he'll probably attend so we can meet y'all. We have a dilapidated structure that I've been letting y'all know about. We're gonna start getting those notices out and get it put on the agenda. Boards and commissions appointment, like Laura said, we have the full charter review committee to staff, and we have one position on CCPD, and then we'll have the tax and budget adoption.
Just a few things.
We hope to have a service contract for solid waste too.
Oh, well, y'all authorize us to extend it.
Yeah, we're still
He's
working.
been working on they got real busy, and he got behind on getting us that updated agreement, but we're still working on it. It's coming. They did agree to the multi-year. They were happy to hear about that.
Okay, good. Our residents should be happy. Okay, the time is now 7:40 and no other issues to discuss. This meeting is adjourned.
Kirsten, it is gonna require signature from the mayor, doesn't it?
The problem, maybe just the mayor, if it's not too much, they've already authorized me to engage in it.
That's right.
If the If they come back and say they wanna do different rates, then we will worry about it. But if not, they've already given me the green light to move forward.
I did keep,
Well,
Doesn't
is there-
have to give us different rates
That in there
because I've already done them.
last.
No,
month, I
that's-
told them just